All right, Shalom, all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to you, Akim, across the world, pushing his word in truth and in sincerity and with charity. And I was just watching this video from the elders in Boston. And, they got a bunch of Edomites up here. And, this thing with the Gentiles keeps coming up. All right, this thing with the Gentiles. And this is really the last resort of the heathens around us to do what? To try to get back into or try to sneak their way into receiving a part of Jacob's blessing. But see, you Edomites have already received your blessing, all right, and you're living in it as we speak, and we're in our hell. All right, you're in your heaven, we're in our hell. All right, so the end time, last day prophecies, the Lord coming, that all pertains to the Israelites. All right, and then in these last days, all right, the dispersed of Israel. All right, because the Lord dispersed us all throughout all the countries, all throughout all the world. All right, as a part of a punishment. All right, so when the scripture goes into talking about the Gentiles, all right, there's two types of Gentiles. All right, there's natural Gentiles, all right, which are Gentiles by nature because they're not a part of Israel. All right, they're not the lineage of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And then you have what? The spiritual Gentiles, all right, which are what? Israelites, all right, dispersed and scattered amongst these other natural Gentile nations, heathen nations that learned their customs, all right, after centuries of growing up amongst heathen, all right. Just as you have, you'll have a Jake that grows up in China. All right, he might look like the Chinese people. All right, but his spirit and his lineage, all right, it goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right, you might have a lot of our people scattered through Europe. All right, scattered through Arabia. All right, as the scripture says that we're going to be scattered too. But what? They're not the descendants of Ishmael over there. They're not a descendant of Ham. They are descendants, all right, in the lineage of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Now I'm going to play a little bit of this and I'm going to get some scriptures. Because this Gentile thing has already been broken wide open. The Gentiles, let's talk about the spiritual Gentiles, all right, which are Israelites, all right, in a heathen mentality, all right, Israelites that were living heathen lifestyles, all right, because of the ignorance to their own heritage, all right, and the disobedience to their own heritage, man. Let's play this.
Because that was us. The harlot was us.
The harlot was the nation of Israel, not us. The harlot was the nation of Israel specifically. He'll say it to you. Go ahead.
Jump. Oh,
Yeah,
keep going.
yeah, please.
It says, keep going to 8 or 9.
No. Read from where you are.
It says, verse 4.
Yeah.
And the Lord said unto him,
Yeah.
call his name Jezreel,
Yeah.
for yet a little while I will avenge the blood of Jezreel upon the house of Jehu, and I'll call to seize the kingdom of the house of Israel.
Right. So he's talking about Israel specifically, and he's going to say in there, if you go matter of fact, real quick, go to 2:1 real quick. Go to 2:1. Go to 2:1.
Come on.
This is
Hosea 2
important.
verse 1. Say ye unto your brethren,
Yep.
mine, and to your sister,
Me.
me, right?
Yep. Lo ami. Yep.
And to your sister,
La Ruhama.
Ruhama,
Yep.
plead with your mother, plead, for she's not my wife,
Right.
neither am I her husband.
Right.
Let her therefore put away her whoredom out of her sight.
Right. So the nation of Israel was a whore. The nation of Israel acted as a whore and started worshiping other gods. Right. Several. The brother Zion mentioned it. There's been several diasporas. There's been several times where the nation of Israel went into these other nations and started behaving themselves like the other nations. So when you go to the scripture that you read, when it says, I will provoke you to jealousy by those that are not a people, there was a dichotomy between the children of Israel that stayed in the land and the children of Israel that were, again, practicing like these other nations. That's why it says
They're
that.
no longer of Israel.
They were no longer of Israel. Somebody go to...
And basically, the elder, he gave a perfect explanation of the Gentiles, man. It was us scattered, all right, amongst these other nations, man. So, for example, I'm an Israelite, all right. say I go to China, all right? I start a family there. My lineage starts there. I have a child with a Moabite woman. All right, that child has another child with a Moabite woman, so on and so forth over generations. What? For the most part, my children start to look like Moabites. See? But who does that lineage go back to? It goes back to an Israelite. All right, and you had that happen, all right, a lot because we were dispersed. All right, and also you had our people that still look like, a normal Israelite, dark skin. All right, during the time of the Greeks and Romans, all right, living amongst the Greeks, following Greek customs. It tells you that in the book of Maccabees. All right, let's get a scripture, man. This is Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 26. It says, I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day, that ye shall soon utterly perish off the land whereunto ye go over Jordan to possess it. Ye shall not prolong your days upon it, but shall utterly be destroyed. And the Lord shall scatter you among. This is the book of Deuteronomy. So this is when like the brother said, there was many dispersions. There was many diasporas. This is when it began. Verse 27, and the Lord Yahweh shall scatter you among the nations, and ye shall be left few in number among the heathen, whither the Lord shall lead you. And there shall ye serve gods, the work of men's hands, wood and stone, which neither see nor hear, nor eat, nor smell. All right. That is what took place. And it started during the book of Deuteronomy. It started back during the time of Moses, man, for disobedience. So the Lord started to disperse us throughout the nations. He's kicked us out of the land, man. All right. Some Jakes went west, some Jakes went east, some Jakes went south, some Jakes went north, man. Okay. A lot of the times Jake was forced. See, during the time of 70 AD, a lot of Jake was forced, all right, and dispersed into where? Africa, West Africa, South Africa. This is the dispersion. And those dispersed Israelites will start to live among the Hamites, another dark-skinned people. All right. And what would happen? They would start to follow the customs and act like the heathens that they are around. Okay. Why? Because they would be in a Gentile, all right, state of mind that like to the mindset of the natural Gentile that they're dispersed among. You see? Let's get another scripture, man. Let's close that. Let's go to, let's see here. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel. Ezekiel 36 and 17. Make sure it's 36. Yep. Ezekiel 36 and 17 and 16. Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, when the house of Israel dwelt in their own land, they defiled it by their own way and by their doings. Their way was before me as the uncleanness of a removed woman. Wherefore I poured my fury upon them for the blood that they had shed upon the land, and for their idols wherewith they had polluted it. And I scattered them among the heathen, and they were dispersed through the countries. According to their way and according to the doings, I judged them. See? These are the Israelites dispersed around the world, following after the customs of the heathen. But who do they go back to? What does their lineage go back to? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right, they're Israelites that are in a Gentile state of mind, which is why they are referred to as the Gentiles in the New Testament. There are two different types of Gentiles. You have to know this if you want to understand the scriptures. The main portion of Gentiles being spoken of in the scriptures are Israelites that are in a Gentile mentality, a heathenistic practice. And sometimes Jake was living amongst these heathens for centuries, to the point where a lot of Jakes forgot, like during the time of the Greeks and the Romans, they forgot they either forgot they were Israelites, or they were so far away from the culture of Israel, which we're coming back into now in these last days, that they really put off the ways of Israel to follow after the customs of the Greeks and the Romans that they were amongst. Just as you have Jake today following after what? Following after the ways of America, right? The ways of England, if they're in England, the ways of what? Germany, the ways of what? Holland, the ways of what? Russia. Wherever Jake is scattered, they follow after the ways of the people of that land that are not Israelites, which makes them what? It puts them into our people into a heathen mentality. Right? Why? Because they were dispersed, and the Lord continuously scattered and dispersed us all the way up until now, until this word came forth. All right, which is gonna hit the spirit of the Israelite. All right, which is gonna let you know that that is an Israelite, because what? Their spirit beareth witness with the spirit of this book of Yahweh Shemel Shai. All right. And this truth is sent to take them out of the Gentile mentality and mindset. We were in a Gentile spirit, following after the ways of black culture, following after the ways of the so-called white man, following after the ways of what the Arabs. A lot of Jake claims that they're Muslim. You see, it's the mindset, it's the spirit that the people of the Lord are in. All right. Which determines if they're in the Gentile mindset or if they're in their right mind, understanding that they're Israel and that they need to keep the law, statutes, and commandments.